Hello YouTube, and welcome to this edition of Race Car Fabrication and Restoration. We made it safely back from Decatur, Texas and Eagles Canyon Raceway, where we had a lot of fun with the 88 car up until the point where the clutch went out on it. So we got it back here in the shop, and we get the Nova on the ground and get it as a roller. We're going to get the 88 car up there in the air and see what happened to the throwout bearing. I think it just may have hyperextended the piston and maybe messed a seal up or something, but we're going to check that out. But right now, we're going to get back on the Nova project. Buddy was not able to go to us due to the COVID restrictions, so he stayed here and worked on the Nova last weekend. As you can see, he's got the rear end under it, and we got the fuel cell mounted last weekend as well. So we are going to concentrate today on trying to get the motor set in it so I can start working on the exhaust, and then we can start running fuel lines, and we can get started on the interior too once we get the exhaust in it. So stick with me and let's see what we can get into on this project, and we'll get started. So hang in there. All right, welcome back YouTube, and I want to show you a little bit of the progress on the car we got here. The front suspension is on here, including the shocks. Still have to put the calipers back on, but we've got all of the bearings are greased on the rotors, and got the front steering all hooked up. Then same thing for the left side, and of course I'd already showed you in the last episode, we've got the seat mounted along with the brake pedals and all, but the rear end is in, got the spring perches welded up, and we went ahead and made a new J-bar. We didn't like the J-bar that we had originally, so we still need to get the rear end centered, and I have bought a couple of wheels. It looks like we're going to have a 5-inch offset on the right rear and a 2 on the right front, but we're going to string the car and see how that comes out. But we've got this moved in, so the radius rods on the trailer arms look a lot better on this side now. But everything is coming along good, and like I said, we're going to go ahead and try to get this motor stabbed in here today so we start moving forward. We're kind of at the point now where we start doing a little plumbing and stuff, but hang in there and we'll be right back with you. Welcome back YouTube. As you can see, we got the motor installed. I went ahead and installed this upper thermostat housing here. We got an issue on the height of the radiator in this bar right here. So actually I lowered this support, cross support down here, the bottom radiator support, as low as I could get it. I didn't want to go any lower for fear of knocking it off. And it's still higher than the cross member is on the frame below the motor, so I didn't want to go any lower. So I said, okay, how are we going to do this? So we had a issue here with I want to get the biggest radiators we can. So what I did is I bought a new radiator, you can see here, but I went in and cut this. This is where the cap would go on. I went and cut this off, and then we heliarced this patch on here, and this should suffice. So what we'll do, this will block the radiator totally off. Then we use this filler system here, on the intake to fill up the radiator, because it's actually going to be higher anyway, so that's going to work out good. So what I'm going to do, I just bent up this piece of aluminum here, and we're going to pop rivet this in, and that's going to be the bottom tray. I haven't decided yet how I'm going to do this top here. I've got to figure out some way how to hold this radiator stationary, and we're just going to run an electric fan. We're not going to have a fan on front of the motor, but we're just going to run an electric fan on the radiator. But anyway, also had to, I ran into a trouble here with the fuel pump. Had to turn the bottom of the fuel pump, rotate the bottom around so we could get this hose, this actually is line here to clear the frame. So we turned it around. It wasn't a big issue, but finally got the fuel pump back on. And so we're making some progress here. We'll got to get the headers on it tomorrow, get them painted and stuff. But anyway, sit tight with me here and we'll try to see if we can get this radiator mounted here on the bottom and get that bottom tray in. Then I'll look at how we're going to do the top here in a few minutes. But we'll be right back with you, so sit tight. Welcome back, YouTube, and we got the radiator mounted. And it's pretty interesting, some of the things you run into some of these older cars. Of course, this car was not a chassis built car, or actually a jig built car, I should say. But I had noticed something already. You see the space in here, you got about 1 inch there. On this side, you got almost 2 full inches. So the front loop here is not square to the frame of the car. So when I went to mount my square radiator, you can see this point here gets wider as it goes across. So that's just something you got to deal with when you're dealing with an older car. But like how the radiator turned out, it's pretty nice. I think that'll be sufficient. But it's a little cockeyed if you look it down this way. But hey, that's all right. Nobody will know except for the millions of you watching this video, but that's all right, LOL. But anyway, we're going to try to get the exhaust on. I've got one side done. I didn't film me cleaning the headers because that would be the most boring video in motion picture history. But I got my powder coating system set up. We paint them, then we put them in front of that bad boy right there, and it bakes it on. So there you go. So anyway, we got those ready, and we're going to go ahead and install those and try to get the exhaust put on. Then I've got to clean up and paint the actual tubing that goes behind the headers, behind the collectors. That's going to be a job. But man, I hate doing that, but it's got to be done, trying to make it look nice. But anyway, stay with us, and we will be right back with you, and keep on trucking. So welcome back, YouTube, and man, what a job. I have been dreading this probably more than anything, but all the exhaust is in, cleaned up and painted, and got our joint bolts in here together, slip joint bolts, safety bolts in, and so we're good to go. So now we can actually start looking at this interior in here, but I think we're probably gonna hold off. I need to get the bell housing transmission pulled out. I bought a donor bell housing. A guy over here close by had this bell housing. I gotta get it cleaned up, more paint, which I love to do. Got this 10-inch clutch, but I think we're gonna go ahead and put a 7 1/4 inch triple disc mini clutch in it. But so I gotta go ahead and get it up and get the transmission pulled out, and then we'll try to get the clutch system figured out, and we will try to get the underside of the car probably done next. But anyway, boy, I'm glad that's over with. It looks good. I like the way it turned out. And if it'll now get a little heat in there and bake some of that paint on it a little better. But we'll see what we're gonna do next. I gotta sit here and think for a little bit, see what my next step is, but we'll be right back with you, so stay tuned. Well, welcome back, YouTube, and we're going to call it a day. Been out here for about 3 or 4 hours this afternoon working, but got a good bit done. We got the steering shaft installed, got it painted. Still got to weld the steering hub here on, quick release, got to weld it up, kind of tighten the mount there. But got the steering shaft painted down here, got the firewall bearing installed, and still got to weld this here on the coupler down there for the steering box. We got the power steering pump mounted, and that was a little chore for some reason. This is a used motor I bought, but the pulleys didn't line up, so I ended up having to put this spacer in here to move the pump out almost probably 3/4 of an inch. Not sure what's going on there, but I got everything lined up now, and that'll be fine the way it's going to do, but the way it's going to be there now. But how about that? Boy, I like the way that fan turned out. Thank goodness went up to Home Depot, $7. Got some 3/4 inch flat aluminum bar. Couldn't believe it was that cheap. But that's going to be pretty good there. I'm real excited about how that turned out. We're going to hit it hard tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and I end up not pulling the transmission out, but I did, coming from my parts room, I did find some clutches. This is all left over from when we was running the asphalt late models. And I think that one there is for a crate motor. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it is, but I got to dig up these part numbers tonight. I got all these different flywheels here, so I know out of this I should have one for a regular motor and for a crate motor. But I got to do some research and find out which one, which button they call it, flywheel button, is for a externally balanced motor. So I'll work on that tonight when I get in the house. But I'm hoping to get this thing down on the ground tomorrow. That would be nice. Just got a little bit of stuff to do on the rear end still. Then we can set the sucker and get it where it's a roller. And I got to get that 88 car over here. I'm anxious to find out what's wrong with it. But that's where we're at. And I may go and start trying to run some fuel lines tomorrow. I don't know. It's just so many different things. But I really need to try to get this clutch situation and get that done. So anyway, stick with me. Appreciate y'all watching all the progress this afternoon. And we will check back in with you tomorrow. And hopefully this sucker will be on the ground or at least close to it. So hang in there. We'll talk to you shortly. Welcome back, YouTube, and as you can see, we've got the wheels on the cars, and the new wheels that we bought are going to work. We're actually going to use a 2-inch offset on the right front, and we're going to use a 4-inch on the left, actually a 5-inch offset on the right rear. But as bad as I hate to say it, we looked at this situation on the Firewall, and just to be honest with you, I just have not ever been satisfied the way it was. And we got the carburetor put on the car and looked at the throttle position, and already was real tight for foot space. So I got with Buddy this morning. We decided we're going to make template. Have you got your template there, kind of, sort of?
Yes, sir.
There it is. And Buddy's going to show you what he's going to build here. We're going to go ahead and put in a square piece like that, and then that'll square off for the throttle linkage, plus it'll move the throttle to over here, so that'll help a bunch. And really, our original plan was a good idea, but we just this is the best way to come back and do it. And what we'll do, we'll powder coat that. It'll be orange, you'll never even know it. So anyway, that's kind of what took a little detour on that today, but Buddy's working on that and doing he's an excellent fabricator. There's a little better shot there. You kind of see how it's going to be. So it'll be straight back to the Firewall that way. Anyway, but then the other thing, we kind of got a little surprise for you. Also doing decals today. This is a friend of mine from Houston, Texas. This is his road racing car. This is actually a Howell road racing car. And my son-in-law, Heath Thompson, is a professional graphics installer.
Not professional.
Not professional, he said. But anyway, show you a little video of this, how he does work on that. So actually, I'm already ahead of you because you'll see the video of him putting it on because he's already got it on, as you can see. But anyway, you'll see how he did it. That's with another camera. But anyway, so enjoy that. And man, we're full service around here. No matter what you need, we got it. We also accept money is the best thing we do. If anybody's got any money, we're good at that. That's our best thing. But anyway, all right, so we'll be right back with you, and we'll keep on chucking here. Welcome back, YouTube, and we are done for the day. As you can see, Buddy was able to get started on the new Firewall piece. I hate to go back and do this again, but we're going to do it out of orange aluminum. And be honest with you, this is the correct way to fix it. Yes, I know I'm dressed up. I got to go sing at a wedding, but I want to come here and get this video finished for you. But you can see here how it's going to work. It's going to have basically a 90, so we'll be able to center up the accelerator. Now will line a lot better with the carburetor. Plus, it'll give me a whole lot more room for my feet in the Firewall there in the cockpit. So, a couple of other projects going. Of course, you saw we got done with the decals that my son-in-law was doing, and then Ryan's back on his late model. Him and Tommy are working on that. And you see he's got part of the decking already on it. So we'll be following that project as well. But appreciate you guys watching us this week, and hope you'll join us next week. We'll go ahead and follow. By that time, we should have his Firewall finished and ready. I did get a tire mounted up. I love chrome. They give me a hard time about chrome, but that looks pretty good. But anyway, hope you join us next week. Appreciate everyone that has subscribed to the channel, and hope you'll tell your friends about us as well. So we'll see you next time on Race Car Fabrication and Restoration. Take care.